Hello there, everyone. Good morning. So glad to be here with you all. Had a little bit of a false start there. So had to make sure we could stay connected with you. If you're joining for the first time, welcome to Coffee Time Career Chat. My name is Patricia Hayes. I am executive advisor, career empowerment coach, and authentic networking strategist. And what that means is I help people who are trying to get to the next level in their careers or in their business by making sure that they are leveraging their professional relationships purposefully and in aligned with their integrity and values, so that they can achieve the success that they are looking for. So that said, we are talking about all things how to share the love with your network this month. And as we're coming to a close on this month, can you believe it already? One, of course, it's a kind of appropriate since it's President's Day, is to talk about leadership, which is one of my next favorite subjects next to networking. Yes. And so we're going to talk a little bit about how leaders show love to their network. And this came to me just because of there's certain things that leaders kind of, for lack of a better word, are obligated to or should be engaging in when it comes to making sure that they show some love, that they are showing some care to and with their network. And one of those things is when you're talking about when you get right down to it, it's like, how are they fostering relationships amongst the people that they know, right? And so that's where we're going to get to. So this is a little spin off of a previous presentation that I've done that I loved, that I did for President's Day years ago, and it was called Leadership Legacies, and it was focusing on some of the aspects of some strong presidents in our history. So I'll make sure and put up a link to that one if I find it, or maybe I'll re-record it. But anyway, it's a great little presentation that I've done for many conferences, and it's really important because we need those blips of those reminders of what strong leadership looks like, the things that people have overcome along the way, and how they can be passed along to any of us. You don't have to be a president to be a strong leader, right? We've already talked about how leadership and leaders don't necessarily mean you just have a title. Strong leaders can come from those people who are willing to step forward, to guide, to correct, to support and motivate others, and to do so with trust so that they will follow them along the way to whatever needs to be done next, right? So you can be a good, strong leader in your community, in your family, in your friend group, all of those things. So as we're moving along and thinking about that, one of the things I want to make sure is kind of what I hinted at already, which is that leaders have duties and responsibilities to honor. And those things include the decision making, right? Guidance, making sure to guide people along a path to achieve the goal that they're all working towards. Correction, because ultimately sometimes people make mistakes, and discipline is required. And then also the thing that we don't think about as much, but is absolutely embedded into the work that leaders are doing, is facilitating relationships. So whether it's doing so within their employee group, the team that they're leading, whether it is working with the folks that they collaborate with, or the folks that they are engaged with in their industry, all of these things will add up to facilitating relationships to achieve a certain goal in some way. And it is a crucial part, and a duty and a responsibility for leaders everywhere. Now, the question is whether they're doing it, right? All leaders don't necessarily get to that. Some people are really good at the decision-making piece. Others are really great at the guidance. Others are overly good at the correction and discipline. But not everybody has a good handle on facilitating relationships in a way that is beneficial and supportive of the work that they are doing. And yet it is key and core to so much of the work that we all are engaged in. So here's the reason why it's really super important, though, is because leaders have a different view. They are not looking at things down here, with everyone else. Most leaders have the advantage of looking at things from a slightly different viewpoint, from a higher viewpoint, a more encompassing one, right? So what does that mean? So if you're looking at and you're thinking about the vision of the organization or the project that they're working on, because they've had access to upper level management, maybe they've been in some meetings that other people have been in where you get to engage in more discussion than you might have with some of the folks that are not in those places, right? And so as a leader, you get a better viewpoint of what the vision is for the organization, of what the mission is, of how things are really looking to unfold. And that is a very valuable position and opportunity to have and to be able to share and leverage with others. And we'll talk about how in just a second. Another different viewpoint is that of history and background. It doesn't matter whether someone's been there 20 years or whether they've been there 2 years. In general, you get, at the very least, a very quick history lesson when you come on board with an organization. You get exposed to some behind the scenes, some of the things that are good, some of the things that are not so good, that may not be, that everyone may not be privy to. Everyone may not have access to that information, to that history, to that background. But as a leader, you do, and it becomes a part of how you can make decisions, inform others, take action. I know that, there were many times in some of my previous positions where I was making decisions or taking actions that to my staff, some of them, it didn't look right and it didn't make sense. And they were highly irritated, right? Because they're like, well, what are you doing? This doesn't make sense to us. And we don't think you should be doing that. But the reality is I had information that they did not have. And I also could not share it because maybe it was sensitive. Maybe it would have put some other people or politics of things in a bad light. However, I did have that in order to inform my decisions. And so I had to ask them to trust me on what the action was that I was taking, because I was acting in accordance with information that I had. Okay. A third reason is that leaders have a different view is they are made aware of the needs of multiple people, of a larger group of people. So while you and I might be sitting here and we could have a conversation and know what, I can know what my needs are, I can know what your needs are. But once you start involving 2, 3, 4, 10 other people, you may not know all of that about each of those people, right? But someone who is in a leadership position, who's in a position that has access to a larger group, and where, let's say, people are either coming to them to confide in them about information or about situations, or maybe because of, professional reviews or input that are received from other people in the organization, this leader has information and insight on multiple types of people and their needs. Now, what does all this have to do with showing love to your network as a leader? Well, everything. And it leads back to that piece that I was talking about, which is being able to facilitate relationships. Because as a leader who has this different viewpoint that's encompassing all of these different aspects, and knowing the responsibilities and the duties that they have, with one of them being this facilitation of relationships, leaders get to have an opportunity that is unique to them that everyone else may not have. They get to utilize and to have access to all of that information, to all of those opportunities, and to then know how maybe we can match this person, we can match A person with B person with C person in order to get this done, right? And all of that information comes together with an opportunity to leverage and to foster relationships in a way that others may not have, right? So because of their view and their knowledge, they can leverage these relationships. They can pull the right ones together. They can know who to talk to about who should be collaborating on a project, who should be working together to foster a partnership with certain projects and things like that. A lot of times people come and they see collaborations in works out there. They see partnerships that arrive and they kind of like, oh yeah, they either think, oh yeah, that made sense, or how did that come to be? I can tell you, having been in some of those positions, that when you see those collaborations and when you see those partnerships together coming together, especially the ones that seem a little unusual, they're coming together because there's someone behind the scenes who has been paying attention to the people in their network and realizing, hey, A is working on a project that's similar to B, and C can augment that, and they pull them together. That is the power of a strong leader who recognizes and is paying attention to the people in their network, not just their teams, but the people that they're engaging with socially and the people they're engaging with professionally on specific projects and things like that. That's the benefit. That's the love that a strong leader can show to their network. It's that ability to pull together the right people, to dip into their network, to understand what other people are working on, and then say, hey, I think I have someone that needs to talk to you, or I think there's someone that you need to connect up with because there's some similar interests that you have. Now, if you are on the receiving end of that, here is the goals. You need to say yes, right? Rarely is there something like that. When someone's bringing you something to say, I think there's someone you should meet, rarely is that something you should just say no right up front, unless you already know or you've already met with that person, because you don't know why that person, why the connector, why the leader is pulling you together. So it's worth digging into to get their perspective on why they're connecting you. All right. Most of the time, it's a good, solid connection that's made. And it's one that most of the time that people would not have put together on their own, right? It's the fact that you've got this person who had this unique vision, who had this unique perspective to say, hey, I think you people should come together. Now, every once in a while, there's a bust, right? Maybe the understanding of what the work that was going on was not fully expressed. So when you get together, you're like, why are we meeting? Or maybe, quite frankly, I'll be honest, the person may have explained things to your connector, to the leader, one way, but when they actually get in the room or on the phone with you or the other person, they kind of shift gears. And that's a whole other conversation that you want to make sure that you take back to the person who connected you, so you can say, hey, this didn't work out, but here's why. Right? That, this is what was presented. I didn't think that's where we were headed, whatever. But rarely is it that you just say no, because when you accept that connection, that potential partnership, just conversation, not even the work or whatever could come of it, it shows that you're open to new ideas and to new opportunities. And this leader, this person, is more likely to share those with you as new things come up. Now, again, not saying you have to take everything, but be willing to have the conversation about it, to engage, and to go have the follow-up conversation. Go see what the project is all about. Okay. Because there's always great things that come from those. I love those types of conversations that come from someone who says, I think you two need to get together. And it turns out they're like, yes, that was a great match. Or I'm not quite sure yet, but then you keep working, you keep talking, and then you discover where the magic is. Okay. So it's very important, both as the leader who's giving, who's sharing, who's looking at things with a different perspective, and for the person on the receiving end, to both be open to new ideas, to new opportunities, and particularly to be able to share them with others. Leaders and people in positions of leadership have a greater duty and responsibility because of the position that they have. They have that unique perspective, and it is beneficial, particularly if it's with folks who are their employees, their team members, when there is this space to help get someone to the next level, right? So why not share that information? Why not partner them up with someone that can help get them to the next level? So just not just with the project or work that you're dealing with inside your organization, but also in order to facilitate the growth, the professional growth of each of those people that you come in contact with. That is the power of a leader who knows how to show love to their network by utilizing the information, the perspective, their position to leverage and help people collaborate and build partnerships in a way that might not have been possible before. So there we are. That's a little discussion on how leaders can show love to their network. And I'm curious to know some of your perspective on that. Let me know in the comments below or in the DMs about how you, or maybe someone who's been a leader in your life, has shared a collaboration, a partnership that has been beneficial. I love hearing these stories. They're great in order to help facilitate the concept and the conversations around what leadership looks like and what networking looks like when it's utilized and it's leveraged in the right way. So there we are. I look forward to following up with you all. Great things coming. Looking forward to further engaging. If you want and or need some additional insight on some changes or some, the journey that you're trying to take with your work, I look forward to having a chit chat. Hit me up in the DMs and we can schedule a consultation conversation and see where that leads. All right. Take care, everyone, and have a great day. Bye-bye.